I bring you greetings in the matchless name of my Lord God and soon coming Savior, Jesus Christ. This is Reverend Bob Lico, the sanctified seer. Yea, verily, the honey badger himself, the grand poobah of the International Order of Heresy Hunters, bringing you another news and views chronicling the collapse of our world and civilization on April 28th, 2022. Let's jump right in to today's topics. The weakening of moral restraint, a sure indicator of societal collapse. In my last News and Views update, I mentioned the statement that the current Antichrist Pope Francis made regarding fornication. He simply said that fornication was simply not the most horrible sin there is that you could commit. Well, and I dealt with the fact that actually sexual activity outside of marriage is a very, very serious sin and a horrible thing and leads to horrible consequences, such as incurable and terminal sexually transmitted diseases, abortions / murder of innocent unborn children, really. Yeah, it's a horrible sin. So wherever we find a loosening of moral restraint, it's simply an indicator that that society is collapsing. Our society has been collapsing for many decades. In my own lifetime, since the 60s. It began then, at least as far as the sexual decadence, which has left us today with transsexual men reading to infants and toddlers in our libraries. It has led to the, in quotes, gay pride parades, where simulated sexual activity is going on. Virtually naked people are parading around in all forms of strange clothing for children and everyone. You go on YouTube, look at the pictures and see the horrified looks of the little children there. So all of this weakening of moral restraint's been going on. Well, I think we see another area of that in all of the articles which I've been covering on the Honey Badger Bob YouTube channel and on Facebook and on Rumble and BitChute. I think we can see another very clear indicator of the collapse of our society around the world, and this is found in the push to legalize all drugs. Now I'll start with the most recent headlines. Could Idaho legalize drugs and gambling and remain good? Well, I would say probably not. But the fact that Idaho, a flyover country, a formerly rather conservative area of America, is now actually considering legalizing drugs. Now, gambling's virtually legal everywhere. It's certainly been legal in Michigan for a long, long time. And, for all of the push that we had, and we prayed against gambling for a long time into the Detroit churches. We were against it. We stood against it for over 10 years. Eventually, they wore down churches, they wore down pastors, they wore down the people. And also right across the river in Windsor, Ontario, those Canadians were getting all of these millions and millions of dollars from America coming right over our bridge in Detroit, going right into Canada and spending all that good money. Bless God, we ought to have our casinos here on our side and keep that money in America. America first. So Detroit went ahead on and jumped into the casino business, and it has not helped the city. In fact, as all of the studies have proven, wherever casinos were adopted, the people got poorer. The communities degraded. They were not improved. There was not gentrification. You go around the casinos in Detroit anyway, and they were right down the street from where we lived at one point in Greektown. In fact, they have one called the Greektown Casino. And they bring in millions and millions of dollars every week, highly taxed. And yet our school system, our neighborhoods, our streets, our crime rate, our unwed pregnancy rate, off the charts, off the charts. And the same thing for all of the great talk for lotteries. And I'm not making a moral statement about gambling or lotteries. I'm not saying whether you should, if you go to the casino or you buy a lottery ticket, you're a horrible person or a bad sinner. No, I'm not talking about that at all. What I'm just simply mentioning is some facts that the casino and gambling industry in general has not brought improvement to the cities and towns that have embraced that industry. That's certainly true in Vegas. It's certainly true in Atlantic City. It's true everywhere where they have legalized gambling. So could Idaho legalize drugs and gambling and remain good? Probably not. Next article. Emerging efforts by states to decriminalize possession of most controlled substances. Now, this is the United States. Let me make that very clear. And there are many states. You can read the article. Just go to the Psy.org website, and you will see the various states, and there are several of them, that are moving to decriminalize drug possession. And when they say most controlled substances, they mean just about 95% of them. Now, this has already been done in Oregon, and they're beginning to look at this state now that since they basically did this, and the police don't go after people with a little heroin on them or some cocaine, or I guess they take it from them and give them a $10 ticket or something. So they're studying that state to see if it's really gone to hell in a handbasket or not. But emerging efforts by states to decriminalize possession of most controlled substances. Next article. Support for drug decriminalization among GOP voters on the rise. New poll reveals how much. Well, this is very interesting too, because the GOP, the grand old party, used to be very, very, the straight-laced, tight-laced sort of politicians. The white-shoed country club folk. Well, that's not the way it is anymore. That's actually become the Democrat Party. But it is very interesting that there is support among GOP voters. There certainly is a lot of support on the Democrat side. The liberals in our government are certainly pushing this. And now even GOP voters are pushing for this also. Of course, up north to us in Canada, which has always been far more liberal than Michigan anyway, Canadians consider decriminalization of most illicit drugs. So Canada is also on this track, trying to think and maybe consider what Portugal did, which was legalize all drugs many years ago. And it's interesting though, and I'm a libertarian, so I have no problem with the political stance of giving people the right to choose what they do with their own bodies. That's not the role of government. And we have a lot of government overreach. But nonetheless, political parties aside, Canada considers decriminalization of most illicit drugs. Carl Hart, I don't really know Mr. Hart, but he is someone who's in the news feed, and he is espousing legalize all drugs now in America. He's just, let's quit pussyfooting around. Let's stop all of this, medical use and decriminalize this and let some people go ahead and explore with these other things. Just legalize all drugs right now. Well, you know, there are reasons why this type of thought is going forward, not just in America, but around the world. And the belief is simply this: we have lost, in quotes, the war on drugs. And because we can't stop people from using and doing drugs or keeping them from coming into our country, well, then we should probably either decriminalize, which is always step one, and then step two is legalize, or just go ahead and legalize. And then what we'll do is tax the heck out of these drugs. We'll sell them as a government through our government regulated offices. We will allow the drugs to be used in our government regulated, doctor approved facilities, which are already springing up in America. I've already covered this, where people can go and shoot up their drugs, take their drugs, and there's someone there who can give them a shot or a whiff of Narcan, or put some paddles on their chest, or talk them down off the ledge if they've eaten some mushrooms or something. I don't know, but that's what's going on. And so just legalize all drugs now. And I'm telling you, as the honey badger, in the days ahead, I believe that we will see, like Canada, the decriminalization of most illicit drugs, if not the legalization of most, if not all drugs, either in Canada or here in America. As it is now, you can virtually buy any kind of drug you want through the internet. Moving on. Are you getting really ticked off? I've been following this because I follow all of the contagions, especially the global ones, and the most recent articles I'm seeing are very interesting about tick-borne diseases. And many people may not realize, but the ticks carry approximately 19 different viruses and diseases. Several of them are fatal. Many of them are incurable, and all of them are spreading fast on a global level. Here are the most recent headlines from this week. This tick could make you allergic to meat. There's a tick out there now that carries a virus. It's probably the Powassan virus. I could be wrong about that. That's the next article. But there is a tick out there that if it bites you, and injects you with whatever it's carrying, you find yourself allergic to all meat. How about becoming an instant vegan because you got a tick bite? Next article. Maine confirms fatal case of rare tick-borne illness. What to know about the Powassan virus? It's not that rare. I mean, not that many people do get it. Okay, I guess that does make it a little rare. But the fact that there has been at least one case means that there are more ticks that carry this virus, obviously. 40 cases of human tick-borne diseases reported in Mongolia. Like I say, it's not just America. Now, the uttermost reaches of Mongolia. Then down into Africa, Zimbabwe loses 15,000 head of cattle to tick-borne diseases. That's a lot of cattle. That's a lot of meat on the hoof to tick-borne diseases. Case of probable transmission of tick-borne encephalitis virus from an unvaccinated mother to her child. You can read about that in the medical news. And of course, it is springtime. And if you're like our family, we like to get out and walk and go to the woods and walk in the park, and let's get out and enjoy nature. Well, the last article, warning to walkers as they could be at risk for Lyme disease. And this is from the Liverpool Echo. Lyme disease has left the shores of America and is all over the world now. And Lyme disease, even though they say, oh, we can give you antibiotics, it's one of those, it's like any virus. When it gets into your body, unless it is completely eradicated, it becomes part of your body and you never get rid of it. People who have had COVID will always have COVID now. You understand that? That's the way viruses work. Well, what I'm seeing, though, are all of these reports, and these are just a few of the more recent ones, of ticks. We've read a lot about mosquitoes and all of the viruses they're putting around the world, well, also the ticks are. And if you're like our family and you do enjoy getting out, I put this up as simply an informative warning that as you enjoy nature this spring and summer, please make sure and spray yourself well with DEET. If you're going out, check your children when you come back in from playing out in the woods and stuff. Look behind their ears and their hair and behind their legs and every little nook and cranny where ticks can go. These days you don't want to get bitten by any ticks, and I'll show you why in this slide. Here we go. Just so you know where the ticks go, here are our 6 maps kind of showing the spread of various tick-borne illnesses. What the maps do not show, and I've given the link down at the bottom, and I encourage you to go to tickcheck.com, www.tickcheck.com, and look up the tick-borne illnesses in your area and diseases in your area. Now keep in mind that these maps are not, they're not saying or showing the fact that, okay, you only have this one kind of Lyme disease up in this area, and you don't see any Lyme disease over here down in Texas, for instance, and no purple dots down. There is plenty of Lyme disease in Texas. You know, they just don't have, these are the major outbreaks. But it's just very interesting to me, and if you live in one of these areas, well, I'd pay attention. Pay attention and look up what's in your area and act accordingly and enjoy the nature that God has created. Well, when this reality is too confining, we know there's another door that we can walk through. We can open the doors of perception using a wide variety of plant-based medicines. We got plant-based foods. Well, they're pushing plant-based medicines, specifically psychedelics. And I've been covering the psychedelic boom from its beginning, and I have several, again, teachings and presentations on YouTube, Honey Badger Bob YouTube channel, on psychedelics, 3 or 4 of them specifically, and I'll be doing more. I know quite a bit about this area in particular. I'll start with the headlines. Fried Nash, just like with pot, Denver's leading the way for legal psilocybin. Well, yes and no. Psilocybin is legal in many places across America right now. Today, in my own state of Michigan, I could go to Detroit and buy it. I can go to Ann Arbor and buy it, and there's a petition being circulated currently for upcoming voter referendum on legalizing psychedelics and all drugs, frankly, well, making all drugs a 90-day or $50 fine by the police, petition going around. So Denver leading the way for legal psilocybin. Well, it's already legal in many, many states. Now, maybe they're meeting a legal psilocybin for the nation. Maybe this is a national push. I don't know. But it is legal in California. Just look it up. I've covered this all over the place. And you can buy the spores legally anywhere because they do not contain the psychedelic ingredients at that point of their development. Once they sprout, then that's when the magic comes out. Until then, you can buy the spores. You can buy them online. You can buy probably 50 or 60 varieties of psychedelic mushrooms online. Next article. Yivo Yam Israel High. Exhibition claims biblical Talmudic cannabis references. Well, I threw this in there. Cannabis is not a psychedelic drug. But I threw it in there because there's a push in Israel not only for cannabis, but also psychedelics in a spiritual context, in a Jewish context, which is just pure insanity, never part of Judaism, drug use was never part of Christianity, not accepted Christianity, not biblical Christianity. It is decried. It is a form of sorcery, and people who try to connect with the Lord God by these drugs are in serious trouble with the one they're trying to get to know. Next article. Psilocybin use was associated with lowered odds of opioid use disorder. Yes, I think that if you take people that are addicted to opiates and they take psychedelic drugs, many of those people are not going to go back to opiates. Well, isn't that a good thing? Well, it depends, because they may end up being totally demonized and believing lies that they learn on the other side from these entities on reincarnation, or the old favorite, all is God and we are God and we are all one, and all the other lies which I can go into when I deal with the spiritual aspects of psychedelics in some further broadcast. Last article. Psychedelics permanently alter your understanding of what has consciousness, study says. Yeah, you won't get any arguments from me on that. But the sad thing is this. Psychedelics are being run out to the populace as good medicine, good material to help you psychologically, help you with depression, with racism, with PTSD, with facing your forthcoming death. They give a whole host of compulsive disorders, et cetera, that if you take low doses of these certain drugs, that they'll help you. Well, and they may initially have that type of seeming effect on people. But they do a whole lot of other things and open a whole lot of other doors that are unbiblical and ungodly and will lead you down the path to destruction. We'll deal with that in another broadcast. The point is this. Psychedelics are continuing to be pushed medically and being pushed to be decriminalized, and in many places they are already legalized in America and around the world. We're bugging out, man. I have been probably the only person on YouTube and Facebook to really be covering this in any depth, but insect-based foods are here and they're coming to your restaurant. First article, snail burgers crawling into American restaurants. Good. Nothing like a snail burger. Next article, coming soon. Faux meat burgers made from maggots and mealworms. This is from Bloomberg.com. This is not the Snopes in their basement. Coming soon, faux meat burgers made from maggots and mealworms. I can just see the future. Somebody drives up to the drive-through window. Can I have thing here? Yes, please. Can I have a snail on your Big Buford? Can I have one patty that's a snail patty and the other a maggot patty? We don't allow any substitutions, sir. You can either get a snail burger or you can get the Big Buford made with the maggots and mealworm. There's no substitutions. Would you like fries with your maggots? Yeah, that's what's coming. Next article. Insects and lab-grown meat could cut food emissions by 80%. Let's go through our magic of the internet and go and observe Johnny with his dad. Daddy, I read this article for my class, and it said that lab-grown meat could cut food emission by 80%. What is a food emission? Well, son, what they're talking about, well, quite frankly, are cow farts
You said fart. That's a funny word. That's a naughty.
Yes, son, I did say fart because that's what they're talking about. They believe that through the use of insects and lab-grown meat, we'll stop eating as much beef, as much cattle, not having these big farms where we raise cattle, and when they eat their grass and things, it causes them to have gas, Johnny, and that causes them to emit gas, which is actually, as do you know what kind of gas?
Yes, Daddy, it's methane. Methane gas. Methane gas is bad because it causes the atmosphere to warm up, and that causes CO2 to form.
And okay, well, Johnny, what do plants do with CO2?
Oh, I know, Daddy. The plant breathes in CO2, and they give off oxygen.
Okay, Johnny, now, if the earth is warming up and there's more CO2 and the plants breathe this in to grow and they give off oxygen, is that a good or bad thing?
They didn't tell us that.
Well, that's all they're talking about here, guys. Hey, come out of Johnny and his dad's home for a minute. Could cut food emissions by 80%. Yes, if we stopped eating meat and stopped having big cattle ranches and great herds of animals, yeah, that probably would cut down on the cow farts by quite a bit. Kanyezulu Farm pioneers insect farming in Malawi. I've never understood why Africa has gotten so involved in insect farming when they have so many animals. Moving on. Edible insect traders call for end to post-Brexit food law confusion. Now, I hope you realize I cited this last week, I believe, but what astounds me, and I cite it again, because I find it astounding that here we are today in April 2022, we find ourselves with a group of men and women who have made a career to become edible insect traders. Now, you've got to picture Wall Street. You've got to picture the pit where all those people are down there with their hands in the air filled with paper. They're all screaming out different things. Buy this, buy that, sell, buy, sell, calling out numbers, all very arcane. I could just see the insect traders are down in the pit. Grasshoppers at 9.2. Buy, buy, buy. Maggots down an eighth. Sell, sell. So they have actual people that are insect traders. It's an industry. And they're calling for the end of the European Union's food laws so that their insect proteins can go from country to country without confusion. That just shows me, and I hope it shows you, just how far this industry has grown, that they have actual traders in the market pits around the world. Last article, a meat-free world might be possible by 2035, says Impossible Foods founder. That's less than 15 years away. They're really, really working very hard. Listen to my presentation on the three-legged stool, the plant-based foods, the cell-based foods, and the insect-based foods. I threw this in just as a little funsy. Terror from toys. I've got a bunch of articles on haunted toys and dolls, and all of a sudden, like so many of these topics, they just appear from around the world. Here we go. Number one, woman claims her haunted doll collection is scaring off her neighbors. This is from Newsweek. It used to be a fairly reputable reporting agency. Next one, creepy moment. Woman finds possessed laughing toy at abandoned mental institution. How about inside eBay's underground haunted doll economy? Look, I understand people in the occult and people interested in the paranormal might be interested in these creepy dolls. I had no idea that there was actually a haunted doll economy. And how would you know the doll that you're buying is or was actually, in quotes, haunted? I think there's a lot of good faith that must go on in the haunted doll economy. Next article. Couple sent haunted doll with no note. Capture it moving on its own on CCTV. Well, England, of course, is probably the most CCTV laden nation in the world. So I'm not surprised many people have these cameras in their homes now. And certainly if I had a small child or we had children that were little and we had to work outside the home and couldn't raise our own children, then I most certainly would have cameras throughout my house. And the nanny or babysitter watching our child would not know about them. And you better believe I'd be checking up on them. So anyway, this couple gets a haunted doll with no note from who sent it. And it's captured moving on its own on their CCTV. Woo! Haunted ventriloquist doll moves on its own. What has this got to do with anything, Bob? Well, I think it might. If you bend your mind just a little, if you're flexible, if you know how to pivot, think about Revelation chapter 13 and verse 15. This is a very interesting, weird passage. And if it's weird, it's important, as Dr. Michael Heiser says. And I read, he is the first beast, was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So in the Revelation, and I believe this to be an actual, literal accounting of what is going to happen. There is going to be some form of an idol, an image. And this thing is given paranormal ability to both speak and somehow cause, either by saying this person, they bring the image out and it talks to whoever's, corralled in front of it. And then it says, get on your knee and worship me. And if you don't, it says, cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So I don't know if that means that it has the ability to kill those people somehow, or whether it just simply speaks and says, guard, that guy ain't worshiping. That honey badger didn't bow his knee. Go cut his head off. Hey, gladly, right here, fellas, to die is gain. To depart is to be with the Lord. Just make it a clean swing is all I ask for. You won't be able to wipe the smile off my face either, boys. Start a swinging. So anyway, I think that we are being, as people, and this is not just here in America, this is England, this is Europe, this is America, we are being desensitized, or at least having our minds open to the possibility that idols can actually talk and do things. Now, this is no leap for anyone in the ancient Near East because they were idol worshippers. And those idols were not just stone, empty things that never did anything. They were inhabited at times by a spirit or entity. They had the whole opening of the mouth rituals and liturgies that they went through to invite the demon basically to come in and speak through these idols. We certainly know in world religions, the Hindus and the Buddhists, they have accounts of their idols doing various things. We know the cult of Rome has got a long history of images and idols of what they call the Virgin Mary. It's not the Virgin Mary. That bleed, that cry tears of oil, blood, water, that sweat, that move, that do a variety of things. So all of this has been in the background of humanity's consciousness from the beginning of the fall, and then through today, through the various paranormal programs that are on television that deal with ghost hunters and all these kind of things that deal with these sort of images and idols. That movie, what was it about the doll Annabelle? They made 3 or 4 of them. Very, very successful movie, seen by, I don't know, probably millions of people. So then by the time we get to Revelation 13:5, the fact that an image can speak will not be anything very strange to people. I think that they will accept that. They've already been being primed to some degree or another. That's why I call this terror from toys. Moving on. You chickening out yet? Oh, America and the world is chickening out. I've covered this on several broadcasts. The pathogenic avian influenza is going to, it already is, but I think that unless it simply burns itself out, we are going to be without chicken, turkey, and duck to a great degree. In America alone, let me read the first headline. Nebraska reports the largest case of bird flu to date. They just had to kill 2.1 million hens. That's a lot of chicken, my brothers and sisters. This is just one place, one event. Next article. Prices soar as avian flu hits 1 in 10 of laying hens nationwide. Are you paying attention to the honey badger now? Prices soar as avian flu hits 1 in 10 laying hens nationwide. 1 in 10, that's decimation, and that's just so far. Poultry, this is their word, collapsing. That's why I call these broadcasts now chronicling the collapse of society. Poultry collapsing as prices of inputs go up over 200%. That's their feed and care and water and all of this. Prices of eggs increase by 30%. Another article. This has been hitting Pennsylvania very hard. Creeder Farms in Nonagle, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania destroys 1.5 million chickens to prevent the spread of bird flu. So you got Pennsylvania, 1.5 million. You go up a little ways to Nebraska, 2.1 million. Last article. 27 million birds are dead, and it's only going to get worse, according to CNET Daily. 27 million birds are dead, and it's only going to get worse. Chickens, turkey, wait for your turkey this Thanksgiving. I hope that you have prepped. What am I telling you? What I'm telling you is, and I have been telling you, is that you should have been prepping. And I hope that you have been, and I hope that you will, if you have not begun to do so, that you'll start now. Go out today and buy some chicken, freeze it, and if you don't have room to freeze it, buy it in cans. If you can find it online, freeze-dried, buy it. All of the prices of all forms of chicken, eggs, everything going up. If you enjoy eggs, I would buy dehydrated and powdered eggs. That's what we do. Can at least turn them into an omelet and into scrambled eggs. I do enjoy a nice fried egg and a boiled egg and a poached egg. I eat eggs every day for breakfast. And they're going away. That's why I say chickening out. This stuff has not gone away, and I hope that my listeners are prepping and putting some food away. Well, I want to close this news and views this week with a positive, lighthearted look at life. And I call this making lemonade out of lemons. Okay, so we've got a global drought and famine going on. Okay, so we've got a global pandemic going on. Okay, so World War III is going on. All right, so our animals are turning against us. All is not lost. Let this woman become a model for you and I. First article. Woman spends only $25 on food weekly by dumpster diving in supermarket rubbish bins. Well, that's pretty good. She's only spending $25 a week on food. And she is able to do that because she jumps in a garbage dumpster and rumbles about in there, paws through all of the stuff, and apparently is able to get enough food to last her through the week. And it only costs her $25 a week. So all of you people that are spending hundreds of dollars a week, take a lesson from this lady. Maybe she's not a lady, I'll just leave it a woman. Just go behind your Piggly Wiggly, your Kroger, your Save Mart, your Spartan store, wherever it is you buy your food on a regular basis. And when nobody's watching, lift up that big top and then hop in. And I would encourage you, because I've emptied a lot of trash over my 60 plus years on the planet, and I would encourage you, if you're going to become a dumpster diver, wear boots, wear rubber boots, because there's usually a good inch, 2-3 inches of water, which is actually not water. It is a liquid slurry made up of all manner of baby feces and pamper residue, rotten meat, dead maggots, dead animals, puke, piss, vomit, condoms, etc. That's what people throw in trash bins in cities. And so the guy comes out from the store and he of course throws in the bagels and stuff that didn't get sold for the bakery, and the day old heads of lettuce and stuff they can't sell. Well, yeah, I guess you could go in there, and if you don't mind the fact that you're pulling stuff out of probably one of the most toxic receptacles known to man, and you're going to take it home and eat it. Well, my attitude then in these last days is to give you a honey badger hat tip. You go ahead, lady. You're doing great. You're only spending $100 a month. May you live long and prosper. Next article. Wyoming's got a new app for claiming roadkill. So here's Mom and Pa driving down the road. All of a sudden, Ma, pull over, quick. Pulls over. Pa jumps out of the car with his phone, and there's a possum laying on side the road. And he isn't swelled up. He isn't all full of gas or anything. So maybe he's a fresh roadkill. So I guess with this app, you must take a picture of it or put your phone up near it and go up and down its body, I guess. And maybe if it makes a determination. I don't know how. I don't have the app. I guess it's a free app. It's probably in the Apple Store. Look under apps for roadkill, and they've got one. Now, does this tell you? It tells me America's in bad shape. When I'm in the world itself, when I see people are dumping into dumpsters to get their dinner, other people are coming up with an app to there's something hidden dead on the side of the road. Oh, let's pull over and get that deer. Oh, it's got maggots on it, Daddy. Oh, well, we eat maggots, remember? Oh, that's right. They'll be like little raisins when we cook it, won't they? Yeah, son. I mean, for real? That's the end of days, folks. Now, let's continue on. A Limpopo entrepreneur started canning chicken feet and necks in lockdown. Hey, creative idea, Honey Badger hat tip. Now he has got a contract and he is selling his canned chicken feet and necks to ShopRite, which is a European, Australian, New Zealand, chain. Chicken feet. There's zero value in chicken feet. Imagine what chickens walk on all day long. Chicken poop. That's all they do. Yeah, that's how bad things have gotten. But wait, there's more. Do you think that maggot burgers were bad? You say, I'm not eating a maggot burger. I'm not eating maggot mash. I'm not doing it. I'm not going. The bridge too far. Not eating locust. Not doing it. Okay. Okay. Next article. 4 unexpected products made from poop. That's from the Sierra Club. Oh, you are shit me. No, I'm not shoving the dookie at you. Dinner is served. Scientists turn human waste into food. Man, this dinner tastes like don't say that. Crap. Oh, well, you could say that. That's because it's made from crap. You doubt me? Next headline. Steak made from human excrement. Is it safe? This is livescience.com. This isn't a fake article. This is a Japanese laboratory. Ah, that's steak. Smell a little funny. Is that a piece of corn in my steak? What is that piece of corn doing in my steak? Ah, so, inquiring minds want to know. Last article, 10 foods and drinks that contain pee and poop. Folks, these are the end of days. And I want to leave you with a little humor, but not too much, because they are actually looking into ways to turn human waste into food, to re-eat what you excrete. Let me repeat that. To re-eat what you excrete. Does anyone besides me see a trend going on in the world, especially surrounding what we eat and drink? I hope so. I hope that these broadcasts are opening your eyes to some news content that you probably will not hear. Or if you hear, you're going to hear one headline. I give you at least, and it depends on the broadcast and the topic, anywhere from half a dozen to a dozen headlines on the same issue, pointing out that this is not some one-off, just sort of bizarre little happening here or there. No, this is what is happening on a global level. And we need to be prepared as the people of God. I don't know how much plainer things can be made for us. Every Christian I've talked to knows in their heart, in their gut, they feel that something bad is just about to happen. Something really eventful is just around the corner, and it's not good. Well, that's kind of where most Christians are at. Oh, I can tell you, your spidey senses are right, but they're a little behind the curve. I have covered these 4 ongoing global judgments of God. I have hours of teachings on this on our channel, Honey Badger Bob. Just go there on YouTube. I'm not wrong about what I'm sharing and about what I'm saying. These things are happening, and they're happening in our lives. And it behooves us as the people of God to be prepared for ourselves, for our congregations, and for our communities. We've got to have the answers that people have questions to, and we've got to be able to provide them not only with spiritual food, but natural food as well. Well, that's what's happening in this week. Stay tuned, my friends. The stuff is only getting wilder every day.